Hey everybody, welcome to Shark Jumping. I'm Corey.
I'm Caleb.
I'm Shelby.
And I'm back.
And today we'll be going through the entire Rocky franchise. Alright, as you can see, we are not in our regular studio. We finally moved back up to college, so we can't really record in our regular studio anymore. So we kind of had to make do with what we had. Over time, we're gonna try to make this a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more homey to us. But overall, that's not what this video is about, right, guys?
Nope.
Right. We're a movie review channel. We're not home decorators.
Pop culture review and discussion channel.
I boxed this in. But anyway, we are talking about the entire Rocky franchise, all 7 movies from Rocky to Creed. Anybody want to lead us up on Rocky 1 to start off with?
I'll start. Whenever I saw Rocky, it was obviously I was not whenever it came out.
You didn't grow up.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with it. I saw it when I was probably 13. I just caught it on Netflix. I'd seen the third one, loved it, and I understand the first one's a classic and people love it, and I could understand how people would love it, but I watched the first half and I was just so bored, couldn't get into it. But then in preparation for this video, I decided to push through, and then I got to about the point when he starts training and he's in the meat locker, beating on the meat, and beating the meat, and they're recording him. That's about, in my opinion, that's when it gets good. And the final fight of the movie is amazing.
So you have a problem with the first half?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm glad you caught up on the Rocky movies for our Rocky review.
Mm-hmm.
That was very nice of you. Yeah. So Dallas.
Yes.
I know you've grown up on the Rocky movies, always been a massive fan on it. Do you have a take on the first Rocky movie?
Well, like you said, I grew up on the Rocky movies. I am emotionally attached to the movies, of course. I can understand where you're coming from, but it's just, I have such this background with the movies. I grew up, starting at 4, me and my dad would watch Rocky for hours in the living room, much to the chagrin of my mother, because she detested them because she said they were boring. So I understand where you're coming from, but I will disagree with you. I love the movies, all of them, even though some of them lack in quality, of course. But I'm always going to support Rocky.
We can just sum up the entire review right there. Dallas likes all of them. But no, so we're kind of split, so that's interesting. Do you want to follow up on either of theirs, or?
Yeah, actually, I'm more positive leaning with this one. I think it's the best of the original older Rockies. This one has the best character development with Rocky and Adrian, and Paulie was a fleshed out jerk character instead of the lovable goofball that we know him to be later. And admittedly, it's not. I mean, it's considered a classic, but I don't think it's the best thing ever. It's kind of overrated, and it has plenty of flaws.
I'm right in the middle of you and Caleb. I could see where people say it's a good movie and everything, and it is a good movie. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's boring, but a lot of stuff is just, I don't know. It's the Rocky movies are known for being cheesy, and that's still prevalent here. But this one's more of a straight up drama than an actual sports movie. Mm-hmm. The only sports things you get are the montage and the fights, which are great. They're up there, best sports movie moments of all time. But I think the rest of the movie kind of lags a little bit. I have to agree with Caleb a little bit. I'm not totally invested in Adrian and Rocky.
Adrian.
Yeah. Rocky's very stupid.
He's the lovable doofus, not Paulie.
Yeah.
Paulie's
Paulie's terrible.
Yep.
We can all agree on that.
Except Shelby, who thinks he's a lovable doofus.
Do you think he's a lovable doofus?
Let me phrase it. He's just a doofus in the others, but they try to make him lovable. But we'll get to that.
He's just a drunk who's annoying, and I wouldn't want him as a relative.
That's true. But that kind of sums us up on Rocky, huh?
Yeah.
We had some very positive, but that of course leads us into Rocky 2 a few years later. And who wants to start on Rocky 2?
I'll start with Rocky 2.
Oh, please start on Rocky 2.
All right. Rocky 2. Rocky's back. He's better than he was before. He's been training. He's ready to go. He's got his life turned around back where he needs to be. He's just pushing forward with his life. And he wants a rematch.
With who?
Apollo.
Creed?
Yes, Creed. Who else? But he goes in and he fights Apollo, and it ends even better this time because Rocky wins.
Yeah.
Spoiler to this over 30-year-old movie. Was it
79.
79? Right.
Oh, thank
Over
God
30-year-old movie.
I was gonna say you called me on you caught me off guard on camera. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like,
But it's Rocky, but he wins.
and that's what later down the line, that's what he was known for. But we'll get into that later. Rocky 2 to me, I like Rocky 2 a good bit actually, but a lot of it is very similar to the first. It's one of those sequels where it's like, let's do the same thing, but this time it wins. But a lot of extra drama and stuff like with Adrian's pregnancy
Yeah.
and all that and Rocky goes in debt,
Yeah.
which they do twice, but this is the first time they do it.
The second time was a little different.
Wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
The lawyer or whatever.
no, I get it, but and so there's a little bit extra. There's higher stakes to this one,
Mhm.
but also he gets to get back in the ring, and we get to see Apollo again, which is
Yeah.
great. He's a fantastic character, great charismatic presence, and so like overall, I have very positive feelings toward Rocky 2.
In my opinion, Rocky 2 is the better Rocky 1. If I feel the need to watch Rocky 1, I'll watch Rocky 2. It's good. Because like the intro it's great because it's the best part of Rocky 1.
Right.
It's the fight. And that's
Right.
the reason why I watch Rocky 1. So if I want to watch Rocky 1, I'm like, let's just watch a good one. Rocky 2. Which I enjoy a lot more. The whole debt thing, it is like it's fine in the second one, but then when they do it again in the fifth one? Yeah, the fifth one, then it's overdone.
It's overplayed.
Right.
But that's the fifth one, and we'll get there.
Yeah,
when
we'll
we're
get
up
there.
to the
We'll
fifth
get there.
one.
I'm not that big of a fan of Rocky 2.
Really,
It's a
this was an
fun.
opinion I was not aware of before we
Yeah,
got on
same.
camera.
It's a fine movie. It's actually kind of good, but it's not. I don't like it as much as Rocky because it's the same. Like you guys were saying, it's the same movie, but he wins. But except this time, there's more. The subplots in this are just kind of cheesy and overwrought, and I mean it's a fine movie overall with the acting with Sylvester Stallone and Carl Weathers. But I just don't like it as much as the first one.
All right. Well, we get the culmination of the Apollo Creed story at the end of Rocky 2, but he takes on a whole new role in the next movie, Rocky 3, the aptly titled Rocky 3, where he takes on a bigger, badder opponent,
Mhm.
Mr. Clubber Lang, Mr. T from the A-Team.
That's right.
I'll start on this one. Rocky 3, I like it.
Yes.
I like Rocky 3 a lot.
Yes.
Rocky 3 is very good.
Clubber Lang, he's not Apollo, but he's still a very intimidating, charismatic.
Kind of
Okay,
terrifying.
I'd say he's a different kind of opponent for Rocky.
No, definitely.
Because it needed to be.
Mhm.
You had Apollo.
No,
He
you're
lost
right.
to Apollo. He beats Apollo, and to really, they were. It was okay. So Apollo's his rival, right?
Right.
And he has to overcome him, and he doesn't do that. That's the first Rocky.
Uh-huh.
Second rival, he beats Apollo and really earns that respect from Apollo. And in the third one, they complete that transition to where he goes from opponent to rival to friend and mentor in this third one. And you couldn't do that if Apollo was his opponent again. So you needed someone like Clubber Lang.
Oh no, I wasn't implying he should fight Apollo a third.
Oh
time.
no, I know. I just wanted to.
I actually I was
Really
gonna
explain it.
I was gonna say that was actually a really good arc for Apollo. I thought was to transition more into that mentor role, so he could fight a bigger, badder opponent.
Right.
And that's a lot of what I like about this movie. To be honest with you, it's been a little bit since I've seen this one. I don't really remember what goes on with Adrian and Rocky in this movie.
That's because it's kind of pushed to the side.
Really,
And that's why I like it.
it's not. They're kind of they're loved. They're married. It's not as big as it. This one doesn't really focus on that.
Yeah.
It's Adrian's there, and she's for Rocky. Like she's his rock, his support, or whatever. But really, the main story takes place when Rocky's going to fight Clubber. Mickey,
Yeah.
dies.
Mickey,
Yeah, Mickey dies. Spoiler. Rocky, of course, distraught because it happens.
Yes.
Of course, right before, not between. He fights Clubber, and he loses to Clubber. So he's got to find his fight back and his spirit. And Apollo, his mentor now, takes him on this journey and he trains him and he gets him back to where he needs to be and gives him a better fighting style than just stick your head in the way and be tougher than the punch.
Right. Now, Rocky 3 is in all a sports movie. It pushes a lot of that romantic drama off to the side. You agree?
Oh yeah, Rocky 3 is my favorite, excluding Creed, and then Rocky 2 is probably my second favorite.
Spoiler for the rest of our video. People can turn it off now.
Yeah, basically.
They all
but
want to know
anyway,
what Caleb thinks.
yeah. But anyway, I love the soundtrack of this one because I love Eye of the Tiger. It's a
Of
great
course.
song. I also loved how you saw the rise of Clubber Lang, like because like he's seeing like Rocky win, he's like, oh, I can take him, and
Right.
then he does
He
take
beats
him
him.
and beats him, and then you like my least favorite part about this movie is Paulie, because there's a really dumb scene where Paulie's like, he's mad at Rocky for some reason, and he
breaks the pinball machine, right?
Rocky pinball
Right.
machine, and then Rocky bails him out of jail. And he's like, oh, hey, you, Mr. Big Shot, and he's like, give me a job, and then Rocky's like, okay,
good job.
and then they're
Right.
okay, and that's my least favorite part of the movie. But other than that, I love it. It's a fun, enjoyable movie.
Rocky 3, I think, is better than Rocky 2 in that the cheesiness, well, not all the cheesiness is good, but some of the cheesiness is more enjoyable this time around. But it still has a fair amount of drama, not quite as much as the previous, but it's a good balance between fun and drama. Admittedly, this is where the series starts to embrace Rocky as like a superhero too much, and the next movie would go into unfortunate extremes with that.
I mean, he
Right,
got a
that-
statue in this one.
I have to agree with it. Like, he does become, like, almost invincible.
Yeah.
But it's still a fun movie, and I'd say it's a good movie. Not as good as Rocky.
Speaking of invincible Rocky and fun movies, Rocky 4.
Well,
Can I start with this?
Yeah, you can start with this one.
Alright.
Go ahead.
Rocky 4 is the definition of the 80s. It's
Cold War?
It's cheesy to the max, embraced with Cold War, Russian villains, and it's
right.
there are some good things to like about it, but it's definitely where, for me, the series goes off the rails, where you lose the interest in any of the characters, and it just goes into a big, cheesy punching out.
You want to go? Would you like to go next?
Yes, please. Actually, I would. Okay, I actually just put this in my mind as I was talking about 3. Rocky 4 is Rocky 3 if Clubber Lang was a Russian guy and Mickey was Apollo. Like, it's literally, it follows the same thing. Because,
It is.
except instead
But
of
there's
Rocky fighting Drago, Apollo fights Drago.
But there's no Apollo to train Rocky in 4. It's
Exactly,
just Rocky
it's
trains
just-
Rocky in
It's
4.
just Rocky goes to Russia and beats
Turns to a lumberjack.
He has to beat Russia to beat the Russian,
I never thought about it that way.
right? Yeah, no, I just put that in my head too. But it's not, while it's not as good as a movie as Rocky 3, I like it more. I'll be honest, Rocky 4 is my favorite. Because, like I said, growing up as a little kid, you say it kind of becomes like superhero-y and all that. I loved that as a little kid. Yeah, Rocky, the big cool American guy beating up on the evil Russian. That was cool to me. And that was always one of my favorites. That's the one that I would always catch on a Saturday with my dad. We'd always be watching Rocky 4. The other ones just didn't seem like they played on TV as much. So I grew up watching that one more, so it's my favorite. Not necessarily the best, but my favorite.
No, like, it's funny you bring up, like, the whole superhero thing, because a major subplot in, the movie is that, Dolph Lundgren,
is like superhuman.
yeah,
almost.
Ivan
Yeah.
Drago, he's superhuman and he's taking steroids.
Steroids. He's
And I
going
think
through these crazy futuristic tests.
it's very funny that, like, Sylvester Stallone is clearly, like, on, like, horse testosterone.
Oh,
He is-
absolutely.
He
He's
is
jacked.
unnaturally big in this
Just-
movie.
Throwing logs and
Yeah.
working out with the horse sleigh.
Like, he somebody else was taking his drug test, or, like, there is no way that man was clean. But anyway, as a movie, I tend to agree with Shelby. It's a very, very cheesy movie. Fantastic soundtrack. Probably my favorite.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
The best part of it is the great soundtrack. it's a great soundtrack. It's a fun soundtrack.
It's a cheesy sound.
This entire
It fits the movie perfectly. It's a great soundtrack.
Exactly.
this entire review is just like us three saying, yeah, and Shelby's just like, ugh.
Rocky 1's
It's the
boring.
best.
I love Rocky 1.
I agree with you. The reason why I was like pointing a second ago because I thought you were gonna say it's like Rocky 4 is not as good of a movie as the other Rockies.
Right.
I thought you were gonna say, but it's a more fun movie. And
No,
it's a
it's
really
just my
fun
favorite.
movie. Which it's a very fun movie. It's
Right.
not a good movie, but it's a fun movie, and it's got a very like funny, good soundtrack in my opinion. I have a few songs just on my phone.
No, I enjoy it.
Very cheesy 80s soundtrack. I love it. I love it too. Okay.
So it's just done with Rocky 4. Let's go
Worst of
Rocky
the
5.
80s.
All right, so
The downturn.
Yep.
the train wreck that is Rocky 5. Even I don't back this one.
Who wants to start us off on Rocky 5?
Let me devour it.
Let's
Okay,
go.
I'll start from the very beginning. Rocky lands at home, right? He's just beat up and just done, like his brain's shot. And his kid's like 7 years
I was gonna say
older.
that.
His kid is aged doubly.
So he comes back from the fight. His plane lands, presumably like the next week, unless they got lost in the Bermuda Triangle. But his kid's like 15 now. They
His
did
kid hit puberty over Christmas break.
right. So this movie's kind of like Bad Creed.
It follows a lot of the similar things of Creed, like similar plot beats and everything.
Right, like this movie's like Bad Creed, except the dad issues come between Rocky and his son, not, the trainee and
Yeah.
right. So Rocky's got this rocky relationship with his son, no pun intended. I'm sorry. Where what's I don't even remember what his kid's name is. What's his kid's name?
Rocky Jr.
I think so.
Yeah, they call him Robert.
I think
Yeah,
that's-
he calls him Rocky Jr. in like the first movies. It's like Robert.
Derek,
Right.
After that,
Derek Zoolander Jr.
we don't talk about that movie. That's not.
Anyway, so Rocky's got this bad relationship where his kid, where he's like, he never even notices me. He only likes Tommy Gunn, which is a terrible name for a boxer.
Dude, he's fast, even though he's not.
He's not. So Rocky like latches onto this guy because he can't box anymore because his brain's messed up, and
That's later. I'll bring that up later.
right, the evil promoter is trying to.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, he's terrible. It's a terrible character.
He's Don King. Like he's literally Don King.
So he tries to get he's trying to bring him back into a fight, and he knows Tommy Gunn's good, so he steals Tommy Gunn from Rocky, and Rocky's distraught by it, and oh yeah, Rocky went broke. We completely
Yeah.
forgot
Yeah.
that.
I'll
Rocky
mention
lost
that,
all
yeah.
of his money, so he's broke again and living in a shack. So that's stressing him out. There's not a lot of Adrian in this movie.
Thankfully.
Yeah, she's just kind of there to just be like, you should love your kid,
Yeah.
or you should love your dad, that kind of deal. But it ends in the exact way you think. Rocky beats up Tommy Gunn because he's Rocky.
Does it end in the exact way you think? He beats him up in a street fight.
Yeah.
All right, my bad. He doesn't go into a fight.
Okay, which is better in my opinion that he doesn't go to the street. Like
Right.
he doesn't go into the ring.
Oh, like
with
his
him.
brain is mush.
Exactly.
Right. Rocky in no way would be cleared by any kind of doctor to go back and fight. So they got to
That's what
do
I was
it.
about.
Exactly. They got to do it in the streets. He beats him up in the streets. Rocky, the brain dead, out of his league boxer, beats the young guy who's in his prime. He's probably what at least 15 years younger than Rocky.
Oh god, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, easily beats him up in the street, and then knocks out the evil promoter and loves his family again.
So, my,
Yeah.
hate Tommy Gunn. He's terrible. He did have like a good backstory. How like his dad like beat like up his mom, and then like so he had to
Right.
like kind of toughen up and all that. And like so that is very good. But other than that, Tommy Gunn sucks.
Yeah, and then
Um,
and then that's how he latches onto Rocky. Like,
Exactly.
Rocky's my dad
Exactly.
now.
And then like the kid like Rocky Jr. He's like just comes a little punk, and
Right.
I don't like him either.
The earring.
Yeah, the earring. Probably my favorite part of the movie is probably Rocky. Not the fight, but Rocky knocking out Tommy Gunn, and then I can't remember the promoter.
Promoter punches him and he
Yeah,
flies
punches
through
him.
the air.
Touch me and I'll sue.
I don't have anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's stupid, but I was like, just because I hate that guy so much, that's why I liked it.
It was 80s cheese bumped up to the
Yeah.
90s. Like it was
Jean jackets everywhere.
even the thing about Tommy Gunn, it's a good backstory, but it's a cliche backstory. Like
Yeah.
it's a good backstory, so people use it all the time. It's screenwriting 101. Yeah, Yeah, so I don't really have a whole lot of positive to say about this movie.
The only thing I did want to say though, this movie did make me like Paulie. Because like at the end of the movie, I was like, I like Paulie.
Yeah, then you watch Balboa again.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Except he's the one who put them in debt anyway.
Right.
I mean, the end is when I liked Paulie. Whenever like he like punched Tommy and then Tommy punched him, he's like, oh, Rocky beat up Tommy gun, and like that's it.
Yeah.
It's stupid, but I'm like, all right, I like Paulie.
You can't make me like Paulie.
Yeah.
But
Understandable.
yeah, and then John G. Alvinson came back for 5. He was originally directed 1, came back for 5, then like completely lost his mind, I guess, and just shot Rocky 5. Like it's bad. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find like anything else really to talk about it. Do you have anything?
Nothing good to say. Let's move on.
I'll follow that.
On to Balboa,
I'll start with this.
please.
Balboa is not like a great movie. It's an okay movie.
It's not terrible.
In my opinion, what would have made it good is if they didn't. Because okay, my problem with the movie is they shot this in like 2000, like
6,
6, 7,
It came out in 2006. So
somewhere
it's
there,
5.
somewhere there.
5 to 7.
Yeah, they shot it and then put it out around that time. So like, Stallone's just like this old dude,
Right.
and
He's literally like 60 years old.
exactly. And so what would have made me like Balboa is if they didn't do 5, but instead did Balboa in its place.
In 1990.
Exactly, and then that would have made Balboa a lot better, and we would have gotten rid of the garbage fire that was Rocky 5.
And that would have been like a pretty perfect like
Yep.
5
Setup.
like
Yeah,
5 movie
Rocky
stretch.
had been he'd been done with boxing for a little while. It wasn't this ludicrous, he's been out for, 10, 15 years, whatever it was. On my math's off. I know it is. It's closer to 20,
It's fine.
I'm sure. But, he comes in.
16 years.
Yeah, right. So Rocky comes in and he fights Floyd Mayweather, Mason Dixon, and the setup is so bad. They do the simulated fight. Like, I know you hate that part.
I really hate that part. Makes me wish they did that on SportsCenter though. Like they actually
Yeah, that would be
was
cool.
an actual
That would
segment.
be cool. Like watching Marciano duke it out with, Alvarez or whatever.
Shoot, watching like Nolan Ryan throw a pitch to like
Lou
Hank
Gehrig?
Aaron or like Alex Rodriguez or Barry Bonds or something.
Right, yeah, that'd be something cool.
Yeah.
But, that's lame because Rocky in the simulation beats him, so Mason Dixon, even though he got beaten a computer, has to take offense to it, which I do like that he was just like, oh, no, I got to beat him up, but it was more like, hey, we can use this for good marketing. They used it, but they did use it the right way. You do have to give it that.
Sure.
But it still boiled down to the fact where like
It was started
it's
because
this
of...
boxer in his prime, and he's fighting a 60-year-old man
Who
who's
shouldn't-
plain
yeah.
as mush from the last movie. They tell him, no, he passed his physicals. Like
Right.
they're like, you passed your physicals with flying colors.
There's no
Not
way.
from what you told me like
Right.
15, 16
Okay.
years ago.
So, at the end of 4, when he was in the showers, and he was the end of 4, beginning of 5,
yeah, start
when he was shaking in the showers, puking, throwing up with
Yeah.
a mush brain. There's no way, 16 years later, with everything we know
Good.
about head injuries and concussions, would he be even better? It would have deteriorated even worse.
Yeah.
It would be amazing if the man could read at this point.
I doubt he could read in the first place.
You know what I mean?
I'd say we learned it too. That couldn't read that well.
He's really stupid in this movie.
No, right. But
Yeah.
understandably, because his
Yes.
noggin's shot. But he does have the restaurant. That's cool.
I do like that whole little thing with the
The
restaurant.
little
That
thing with the
plays-
restaurant.
That plays into Creed as well.
Right.
Mm.
There's not really a love interest in this one. Kind of.
There is, and it's weird.
There is, and it's kind of weird. But
He's not. It doesn't seem like he's going after her,
yeah.
but it's I don't know.
Well,
Okay, he's not going after the love, but he's going after the companionship.
it's not blatant.
Right.
It's not blatant like, oh, I want to have
intercourse.
babies. Like,
Yeah.
But he's not going for like I said, romance. He's going for companionship.
Exactly. Which is
steps.
understandably
Right,
he was
like
lonely.
steps. Yeah, like steps.
oh,
He's
steps, like steps.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Anything else? Shelby?
Well, yeah, this movie's not very good. There's lots of logic problems, and the
like the
and
fight.
the whole main plot with the fight is just nonsensical.
It's silly.
The best stuff I feel is the stuff that involves Rocky with his new life, where he's old and he's dealing with his spoiler alert, dead wife.
She dies.
Yeah, we totally forgot that.
And his estranged son.
Who doesn't have a good relationship with him.
Yeah,
Again.
That's my favorite parts of Rocky
I
Balboa. Oh,
I could have done without his son.
Yeah, I feel like that was just unnecessary this time.
I didn't care.
I would have liked it if there wasn't all this other stuff about how he had to fight Mason Dixon, or how he had this weird sort of love interest. But yeah.
Right.
I preferred how they did it in Creed,
Yep.
where he was just like, he moved off to Vancouver, and
Yeah.
like he doesn't want to see me anymore. Because Creed fixed, I think, a lot of the stuff that like
Was wrong with
Was
5
wrong
and
with-
Balboa.
basically like 4 on, like where it kind of started to tank, and it fixed a lot of those problems. But yeah, so the son's not really around anymore. The wife's dead, Paulie's dead, and
Come on, man.
and
so this is a segue into
so-
Creed.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's literally just I did it just like good but terrible segue. Anyway, but so it's literally just Rocky and Michael B. Jordan, and they developed that relationship really, really well. Michael B.
Right.
Jordan is amazing.
Oh, he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
One of the best. I don't want to call him an up-and-comer. He's been around for a little while, but he really just broke out here recently, you know?
You know, that breakout role, Van Forstick.
No, but besides him, like this could be so Stallone's best performance as Rocky. Maybe not, maybe the first one, but like
No, he was great. And
Yeah.
everything that they did wrong in 5 and Balboa is Rocky being washed up and Rocky being needing to move on, they did right here.
Mhm.
Like, Rocky was out of boxing. He was just doing the restaurant. And you thought, like, he was reluctant to train Donnie, Adonis, whichever you would prefer to call him.
right.
Full Creed.
Right,
Full
full speed.
Creed.
Like, he didn't want to train him, but he forced it to. And then he found out he was Apollo's kid. And it was kind of
He
like,
was the reincarnation of Apollo.
my bad, it was Apollo's kid.
Oh,
And it was just kind of like, you know, they just naturally gelled because, you know, him and Apollo were so close.
Shelby.
Yeah, I have to say this is the best Rocky by far, easily, because it has the best acting of any of the movies. It has the best direction. It has the most style,
Script.
best script, and just everything about this is much better than any of the movies I've seen before.
I think a lot of it has to do with they got Stallone's hands off of all the on-camera, like
Off camera.
off-camera stuff, and they said, "Hey, you just focus on your performance.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
worry about writing the script. Don't worry about directing it. We'll take care of that. You focus on being Rocky." And I think that helped a lot.
I also, like I said earlier, Creed is definitely my favorite out of all of them. It's very good. It has a better romance, in my opinion. Like, I actually care about
I do.
Creed
Yeah, but
and the
it's-
girl.
Because
What's her name?
I can't remember her name
Bianca.
right now.
Thank God.
Bianca.
You knew that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds right.
their
Wow.
chemistry is
I was
natural.
Bianca, and I was like, I don't think that's
Their
right.
chemistry is natural, and
Yes.
it like it connects normally. Like
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
flows. It's not just like Rocky creepily chasing after Adrian.
Yeah, at least it's not Rocky and Bianca.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But really enjoy it. They have the great like his first, like not his first fight, but like his first fight as like Rocky training him with that fight's really good.
It's all done in one shot.
Yeah.
Right, where he's still Donnie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before they are like, oh, this is the Creed child. Yeah,
Mhm.
enjoy it a lot. Favorite
Yeah.
of them.
All right, so we finished all 7 Rocky movies, guys.
Mhm.
We went through all of them. But okay, so one last thing. Instead of rating them all, because we don't want to do that.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to see us rate all 7 of these movies. Let's just go down and we kind of tipped our hand for this. But we'll go down the line and say what our favorites are. What's your favorite?
All right, favorite is Creed, and then 3. You want to do all in order, or just the top 2?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's audible.
Creed 3, 2, 1, 4, Balboa 5.
All right. Creed 3. I'll do 1, 2, and that's 4. Balboa 5.
Correct.
So Creed, Rocky, 3, 2, 4, Balboa 5.
I was wondering what I was
Yeah,
supposed to start. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and preface this before you jump on me. This is favorite and not best. Because we know it's the best and we know it's my
Oh,
favorite.
no. Best.
No, favorite. You said favorite.
Caught me.
Go.
Creed. No, crap. I messed myself
Yes!
up. No,
It's locked in.
it's 4, 4, 3, Creed, 1, 2, Balboa 5.
Okay, that wraps us up for today. On a very uncomfortable note for me, that wraps us up for today. Let me get into this. Since we're moving back up here, we wanted to film this video for you guys, but we kind of have to adjust to our schedule. So this video is coming out on Friday. So we'll put this up on Friday, but we'll be taking the next week off. So that next week we will not be having a video on Monday or a video on Friday, but we'll probably have a movie review up that next Monday. We haven't really decided what it's going to be yet, but we will have a movie review up when we come back. Hopefully something that maybe released in theaters.
Hopefully.
But yeah, besides that, I think we're done for today. And if you like this content, like this video, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, help us grow. And that'll wrap us up. Have a good night, morning, afternoon, whenever you're watching this video.